Today, the US Embassy in Israel held its first ever consular services in an illegal Israeli settlement in the West Bank, setting a major precedent. This might be a new level of US institutional engagement with settlements which are illegal under international law, reinforcing Israel's de facto annexation of Palestinian territory. It also highlights a possible divergence inside the US's stance on the issue. While Donald Trump has publicly rejected Israeli annexation of the West Bank,
I will not allow Israel to annex the West Bank. No, I will not allow it. It's not going to happen.
His appointed ambassador, Mike Huckabee, said just this week in an interview with Tucker Carlson,
does Israel have the right to that land?
It would be fine if they took it all.
Of course, this trajectory does not begin here. Back in 2018, the US triggered international backlash by moving its embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, effectively recognizing the city as Israel's capital despite its contested status under international law. The consular services the embassy is providing are tailored for dual US citizens, of which estimates suggest there are tens of thousands who are settlers in the West Bank. The official announcement posted on X claimed that this is part of an effort of the 250 initiative, the White House's campaign to commemorate the 250th anniversary of the US foundation. But how exactly does it have anything to do with it? The passport services started in the settlement of Efrat, about a dozen kilometers south of Jerusalem. Efrat, like most settlements, is connected to Jerusalem through road networks that Palestinians generally cannot use freely due to checkpoints and permit restrictions. This means that establishing services there, so close to the embassy itself, appears more symbolic than logistical. Efrat was established in the 1980s by a New York City Upper West Side rabbi and built by seizing over 4,000 dunam of Palestinian villages. While the statement does say it will provide similar services in Ramallah, the reality of movement for Palestinians to reach the embassy is radically different from that of settlers, who do not require permits to travel across the separation wall, nor face checkpoints. The next settlement expected to host services is Beitar Illit, which is even closer to Jerusalem. It is one of the largest settlements in the West Bank, with roughly 70,000 residents and a predominantly ultra-Orthodox population. Now, this isn't the first time the US has challenged international legal consensus. Huckabee recently stated
that the US is committed to doing everything it can to neuter both the ICC and the ICJ, the two entities that are pushing for these prosecutions, because the US is very aware that if they can do this to someone who served in the IDF, they will do it to President Trump the moment he leaves office.
Under the Fourth Geneva Convention, transferring civilian population into occupied territory is considered illegal. Now, while Secretary of State Mike Pompeo announced back in 2019 that the US would no longer consider settlements inconsistent with international law, official American policy has not formally recognized Israeli sovereignty over the West Bank. Even Israel's own legal framework treats the West Bank as under military occupation rather than formally annexed sovereign land. Yet, just this week, support for a broader, greater biblical Israel vision was voiced by opposition leader Yair Lapid.
מאמין שהקושאן שלנו על ארץ ישראל הוא התנ"ך, ולפיכך הגבולות הם גבולות.
רגע, אז עקרונית ארץ ישראל השלמה, גדולה?
עקרונית ארץ ישראל השלמה והגדולה והרחבה כמה שאפשר בגבולות הביטחון הישראלי ושינויי המדיניות הישראלית.
And with the Trump administration's reversal of sanctions on extremist violent settlers, Israeli control over the West Bank is normalized. If the United States claims it is trying to reach all Americans, a question remains. Should it not also prioritize protecting Palestinian American citizens harmed by settler violence? Like Saifullah, a 20-year-old from Tampa who was killed in the summer of 2025 near the village of Sinjil while walking in olive groves.